Welcome to the Walton Pi. Today we're going to be talking about functions. So we've probably talked about functions quite a bit in previous classes, but here we're going to first start by establishing the mathematical definition for what a function is. So a function is a rule or a relation from one set, which we call D, to another set E, where every element in D is assigned to exactly one element in E. So the set D is going to be called the domain, and E is the codomain. Now, you might be thinking the codomain is the set of outputs. That's actually the range. The range is a subset of the codomain, but is the set of all possible values that we can get. So for example, we might have the function f of x equals 3 plus 1 over x. Here, the domain of f is going to be x, all values except for x equals 0. Because if x was equal to 0, we would have a division by 0, which we are not allowed to do. So that tells us that the domain is all numbers except for x equals 0, because that is the only value where the function is not able to be defined. The codomain, though, can be all real numbers, even though it's impossible for us to get a value of 3 out from the function. But the range is going to be the set where y is not equal to 3, since that is the only value that f of x cannot be equal to. We can often represent a function as a graph, where we can have the domain and codomain as the real numbers. So for example, this is a function, because every element in the domain, so our x-axis, has exactly one element in the y direction that it can map to. So this is not going to be a function, because we see that some of the x values, there's more than one y value that come out. So if we draw this vertical line, this is often referred to as the vertical line test, no matter where we put that vertical line on the function, it's going to intersect only one time, exactly one time over the domain. Whereas on the non-function relationship, there are more than one place where it intersects the graph. So that tells us it's not a function, because one input gave us more than one output. A piecewise function is a special type of a function where the rule is different depending on where in the domain our input. For example, the function f of x equals the absolute value of x is a piecewise function. We say that the absolute value of x is equal to itself if x is already positive, but then we make it positive if it started negative. So f of x is equal to x if x is greater than or equal to 0, or negative x if x is less than 0. So this is what it means for it to be a piecewise function. We define it by pieces, and we say on what pieces the function does what. There are also some classifications of types of functions. So we say a function is even if f of x is equal to f of negative x for all x's in the domain. And a function is said to be odd if negative f of x is equal to f of negative x. It is possible for a function to be neither even nor odd, such as f of x equals x plus 1. If we plug in negative x, that does not equal the same as if we were to plug in positive x. For example, f of 2 is 3, but f of negative 2 is negative 1. So it does not satisfy the requirements to be even, nor for it to be odd. It is possible for a function to be both even and odd, which sounds a little unintuitive, but the way that we've defined even and odd, it is possible. And the only function that is both even and odd is f of x equals 0. That's the only function that works. So for example, the function f of x equals 4 minus 2x squared is an even function, since if we plug in negative x, we get 4 minus 2 times negative x squared, but negative x all squared, that's the same thing as x squared. So it is going to be equal to 4 minus 2x squared, which is what f of x is. And then the function g of x equals 1 over x, that's an odd function, since g of negative x is equal to 1 over negative x, which is negative 1 over x, which is just negative g of x. So those are two examples of even and odd functions. I hope this was helpful. I will be making a couple other videos to talk about different functions as well as classifying different types of functions. Please check out some of my other videos, and please like and subscribe, as it will help me out to be able to continue to make these sorts of videos. Have a great day, and good luck with the rest of your math.